is a feminist and humanistic social justice critique of, and alternative to, the traditional tendency to treat women's sexual dysfunctions as strictly medical problems, as opposed to interpersonal and social problems. New View advocates argue that the traditional medical approach to sexual difficulties overlooks differences between men and women when it comes to sexual functioning. One such difference is that women often don't distinguish desire from arousal, and this is a difference that the New View says traditional models often overlook. The New View critique also contends that most conceptualizations of sexual dysfunctions are done in medical terms that encourage people to see women's desire and arousal complaints as signs of sickness instead of as responses to relationship dissatisfaction and gender discrimination. The New View's developers powerfully argue that it's hard for women to maintain sexual interest if they feel abused by their partners or discriminated against in the wider world. Finally, New View therapists contend that seeing women's sexual complaints as medical maladies minimizes individual and situational differences because it mistakenly assumes that there are normal levels of desire and interest and activity for all women when it comes to sexuality, regardless of often overlooked factors, things like personality, economic status, and relationship satisfaction. The New View is especially critical of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM, which it says personifies their concerns about the medical model. From their perspective, the DSM, with its emphasis mainly on disorders that affect the individual, overlooks relational components of women's sexuality, which the New View argues are often the best way to understand women's sexual problems. When the New View talks about relational factors, its adherents are talking about things like the desire for intimacy, the wish to please a partner, or the wish to avoid offending, losing, or angering a partner. The New View makes the case that focusing on whether sexual parts appear to be working or not, and thinking about sexual dysfunctions primarily in physiological terms, just leaves out the important role of other factors, such as relational and social factors, on women's sexual experience. As an alternative to the DSM, New View therapists have devised their own classification system. This system divides sexual problems into 4 types. 1. Sexual problems due to sociocultural, political, or economic factors. 2. Sexual problems relating to partner and relationship. 3. Sexual problems due to psychological factors. And 4. Sexual problems due to medical factors. As you can see from looking at the New View classification, it attributes most sexual complaints to social, political, psychological, and relational factors, even while acknowledging that some sexual issues are medically based, and it acknowledges this by including sexual problems due to medical factors in its classification system. As a final caveat, pay attention to the fact that the New View doesn't identify sexual disorders. Instead, it talks about sexual problems. This reflects the New View's effort to move away from what it sees as the over-pathologization of women's sexuality by the traditional medical model. What do you think of the New View?